Hi everybody. Just thought I'd do a um, quick video. As everybody knows, Scott Hall passed away. Uh, it's been all over the place. Everybody kind of already knows the story. If you don't, Scott Hall had hip replacement surgery, and after that, he had two heart attacks, and unfortunately, uh, was in a coma for quite a while. And as his family decided to take him off life support, and he passed yesterday. So a lot of people that don't know Scott Hall or haven't seen his career, that were too young, don't understand the importance of this guy. Uh, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were big in the what I call the kind of a in between period, in the period between Hulk Hogan's departure and the Attitude Era. And yeah, he was Razor Ramon for a while, and at the time, you know, we had WCW and WWE, and the two companies were rivals. Ted Turner's WCW, Vince McMahon's WWE, and it was huge. They didn't mention each other, but Hall was one of those guys that was the crossover guys who went over to WCW, and everybody was like, "What the hell is going on? Who's this Scott Hall? Who's this guy? We know who he is, but what is he doing in WCW? Why is Scott Hall in WCW? Why is he here? Is he invading?" And then soon afterwards, Kevin Nash came along, and Hulk Hogan was already there, and they formed the NWO, which was huge. And the NWO became one of the biggest factions in WWE, or WCW, excuse me. Later on, they took it to WWE, um, and from there, Hall joined Kevin Nash with the Outsiders as a tag team, the Wolfpack, as it'd also be called. And Hall was there for quite a while, but unfortunately, Hall had substance abuse problems. He later would go on to say that he had earlier in his lifetime had murdered somebody out of self-defense, and that kind of spiraled his alcoholism, started it, and caused it to spiral down. So, but Hall managed to clean himself up. DDP, who everybody knows, Diamond Dallas Page. If you don't know, he's done a program called DDP Yoga for just people who are out of shape, mentally kind of need, uh, they need their minds cleared up, and need to focus. But anyways, DDP started DDP Yoga, and he actually got Jake the Snake Roberts, who was another known WWE superstar or known Hall of Famer. And Roberts also had problems with substance abuse and drugs, and he got him clean and sober. So Scott Hall was next, and Scott became clean and sober, and Scott went into the Hall of Fame right afterwards. I mean, it was some times afterwards, but Scott was able to get himself on the mend. And from what a lot of people have said about him, as from what I've researched, a lot of people, wrestlers, have said that he's very sharp-minded when it comes to his wrestling knowledge in the ring, and he knew, the ins and outs of the rings, not just wrestling. It's psychology of the whole business, and just kind of you know, how to kind of get in people's heads and get into the the heads of the fans, so the fans were gonna react and boo you or cheer you or whatever. Scott knew that, and I've seen interviews about Scott Hall and in his in-ring performance and his psychology in the ring, and I've seen videos of him talking to younger wrestlers and passing that on, and he was doing so well, and for Hall to pass away, I think he was 63. It's it's sad, very sad, because Scott Hall is a big part of was a big part of wrestling, big part of like I said, the transition between the Hulk Hogan era and the Attitude Era. There's this kind of in between of wrestlers that that kind of were there in place, but some of them kind of stood out of place, and there was a mixed match of different wrestlers that were some were cool like Scott Hall, and some were kind of odd like Doink the Clown, you know, a clown running around in mass, just, you know, uh, making people laugh, but also was kind of a, you know, sadistic clown, kind of a bad guy, a villain. So, and there's others, you know, Vader and Viscera and at the time Hunter, and Shawn Michaels was a singles competitor, and Sid Vicious, and there was a bunch of different mixed matches. Some would go on to the Attitude Era and kind of blend in and be part of the Attitude Era, and others wouldn't, you know. Others would go on to other wrestling companies and do their own thing. But yeah, it was quite a transition period, and then of course they went into the Attitude Era, and the Attitude Era blew up, and led to more of a edgier wrestling, and that kind of led to WCW changing um, their promotion a little bit and changing the way their look and their style was, and they were getting wrestlers from WWE, ex wrestlers. They started getting more and more ex wrestlers from their company and from WWE, and WCW started using them. And but anyways, Scott, rest in peace, Scott Hall. Scott Hall was a wrestler that I liked. He was an awesome wrestler. He had the coolness and the style and the slickness and the, you know, I could go into a room and just kind of sit and chill and just draw the attention of people, just not maybe just by his coolness, you know, by his attitude and his personality and the way he walked into a room and the way he just kind of gave you that vibe. And Hall, that's just how Hall was. Hall was just naturally cool, and he took that even from the Razor Ramon gimmick, and he still used that as Scott Hall. I mean, he could still use parts of that as Scott Hall. You know, the hey yo, you know, he didn't throw the toothpick anymore as much, but it was the hey yo and going, you know, getting the room going, and he sometimes he would get the crowd, you know, for him with the a for against it. You here to see the WCW or the NWO, and sometimes he would, you know, he would get crowds against him, but he was good. He was good. So Scott Hall, rest in peace. It's a sad month. To lose a wrestler like that is a sad month. Hopefully, we don't lose any more guys, but this one stinks. So I will try to do more videos. I'm trying to get my channel going, but I'll try to do more videos. But Scott Hall, rest in peace.